What's going on, guys? Indy here with Ultimate Tool Reviews. Now, I just got in the Makita XWT15. Now, I did buy the XWT11 a couple of years back at Home Depot, and it went on clearance when this model was coming out. Now, the interesting thing about Makita impact wrenches is they generally hold their value really well. So this thing retails for like 220 bucks. It's insanely expensive, in my opinion. A lot of the competitors can be found quite a bit cheaper than that. One of Makita's pretty much biggest apples-to-apples competitor is the Metabo HPT. It's the WR18DBDL2, quite the name there. And this thing can actually be found quite reliably cheaper. When I say that, you know, often a lot of times more cheaper than you can find the Makita. Now, I've actually got, this is my second one I bought. I bought one, kind of flipped it. I was kind of not sure if I wanted to use it or not. But I got one at eBay. I think I paid like 50 bucks for it at eBay, brand new in the box. But I bought another one at Lowe's when they went on clearance. I think it was like 50 bucks on clearance. The thing was super cheap. So I got it brand new, of course, with a lifetime warranty then. 50 bucks. I use this thing for changing lugs on my tires all the time. You can definitely see that it's got some, you know, dirt and grime on it, of course, from I throw it in the dirt, you know, I don't really care. I just like to throw it down, it gets the job done. It is IP56 rated, which is pretty cool. Retail price is much cheaper on this thing, of course, than the Makita. Now, what's interesting about impact wrenches, I was kind of thinking about this before I was even starting this video, and it's funny when it comes to impact wrench. You compare this to, say, like a impact driver, which are about the same size, weight as these. Of course, not the same power. You're gonna have definitely more power out of an impact wrench. But when it comes to these, it's kind of interesting because I was trying to figure out why an impact wrench would cost more than an impact driver. There's not a whole lot of differences in them, really. Especially with the Makita XWT15, it's very similar to, say, like the XDT19, which is a very similar impact driver. For the most part, though, if you've ever seen like Mancaver Tools or Torque Test channel, they've actually taken a few impact drivers and converted them to impact wrenches, and they've been just fine. There's not a huge difference really between an impact wrench and impact driver. For the most part, it's just going to be the type of anvil you have. You can change it to a 3/8 inch anvil. You could put a 1/4 inch collet on here. There's many things you can do, and it's still going to work. So why are they nearly twice as much? Well, that's kind of just up to debate, really. I've not been able to find a solid answer at all. I don't really see any reason why these cost so much more than an impact driver. Now, of course, there are totally different tools. When you think about an impact driver, impact wrench is for taking off, you know, sockets. It's designed to use that non-stop. A 1/2 inch anvil here is going to be much more durable than a 1/4 inch collet when you get above, say, I'd say probably 300 foot-pounds. When you get above that, definitely be more reliable than a 1/4 inch collet. So when you're comparing these two impact wrenches, you know, price is definitely a consideration, especially when you can generally find these relatively cheaper than the Makitas. For this Makita XWT15, I paid $120, and it came with a 4 amp hour battery. Got it off eBay. Bought it basically like new. I was kind of hunting for one of those for, I would say, the last 6 months or so on eBay. I kind of just had a little bit of a watch on there, looking for one to try to hit a deal on them. And I finally was able to find one for quite a bit cheaper than they go for brand new with a battery. So I will say, I think it's a good tool overall. I haven't really had a chance to really test it compared to the older XWT11 that I've had. But my really question here is, how much better is it going to be compared to the Metabo HPT? I was trying to find maybe, you know, a DeWalt or Milwaukee to go against it as well too. And I've kind of always been Makita Metabo, so I haven't really bought one of those just yet. But it's interesting to think about just the price difference in impact wrenches when you really consider them. So things like Metabo HPT, that lifetime warranty, the IP56 rating here, and the much lower price. It's quite interesting to consider that. Although I'm a big Makita guy, it's kind of hard to defend Makita when you have those advantages over, say, something like this. Now, the XWT15 does have some nice advantages, definitely some more modes on here, which is pretty nice. We've got speed 1 through 4, we've got a light on and off. We also have 3 bolt removal modes, which is pretty cool. So if I put this in reverse, and let's say I go to, there we go, mode 1. Let's do mode 2 and mode 3. You've got some different modes there. Whereas the Metabo HPT is much more basic. I do have a light on and off button, and then I've got the usual 4 modes on here on the side that kind of give me some speed options, but no real bullet removal mode, which is honestly, in my opinion, quite useful for a lot of the work that I do. Just pulling off lug nuts helps that little that nut from not flying right off whenever you're changing the lug nuts there. So my big question though, when it comes to all these manufacturers, Milwaukee, DeWalt, Makita, are we gonna start seeing, a lot of impact wrenches continue to rise in price? I mean, some of these high torques, of course, are quite expensive, but of course there's no equivalent impact driver to those, of course. But what is driving the price on these impact wrenches exactly? I mean, it's basically the same exact design as a impact driver. We've got a motor, we've got a hammer anvil, and then of course we've got a 1/2 inch impact socket here. So honestly, what's going on with these pricing? It's kind of crazy. Not that I'm advocating for going for cheaper brands, of course, if you use these a lot, but it's getting interesting when it coming to doing reviews on these, and you say, hey, this thing costs over $200 tool only, and how much bang for the buck do you really get? Would it be worth just going to a mid torque or high torque at that point? If you're going to be doing a lot of heavier duty stuff and pay the extra maybe $100 or so to pick up a high torque and just use the lower modes. And that's kind of the question there. So I'm going to do some more testing on the XWT15, guys. I'll do another video on this tool here in the future. But I just wanted to initially, talk about it a little bit, especially compared to the current Metabo HPT that I've had now for about 1.5 years. I love this thing. I think it's a fantastic value, lifetime warranty. IP56 rating. It's got some nice modes on it too. It definitely does benefit from the larger 36 volt batteries. It's not a 36 volt tool, it's an 18 volt tool. But it's really cool to see brands coming in at lower pricing, giving you still great quality and fantastic amount of power and just bang for your buck. Not saying there's nothing wrong with the Makita. It'll definitely last quite a while knowing Makita. But really, how much tool, how much money do you have to spend to really get the job done? That's the question there, guys. So guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take care, have a great day, and stay safe out there.